Hello and welcome back to the Connection Compass podcast. I'm your host, Angela Louise Evans. For more information on my work, please visit Seasonally Guided. The link is in the show notes. Today, I'm joined by the wonderful Karen Shaw, parenting coach, author of Parenting Magic, and founder of Energy Inspired Coaching. Karen's journey began through her own parenting experiences, which led her to explore communication, connection, and the powerful role our words play in shaping not only our children's lives, but our own. In this conversation, we dive into NLP and what it really means, the energy behind the language we use every day, and how conscious communication can completely transform our relationships. Karen shares why try doesn't carry the same direction as do, and how words can harm or heal, why no one can make us feel anything even when it feels that way. We talk about creating new patterns and beliefs, the importance of awareness, and those hard but powerful realizations that allow us to step out of victim mode and into empowerment. Karen also shares how Parenting Magic became not just a book, but everything. From parenting to menopause, from thoughts to vibration, this episode is a reminder that energy matters, and so do the words we choose. Let's listen in. Hi, Karen. Welcome to the Connection Compass podcast. It's exciting that you're here and we're looking forward to our chat. For our listeners, please could you introduce yourself, please?
I can indeed. I'm really excited to be here as well, Andrea. My name is Karen Shaw, and my business name is Always Inspired Coaching. And what I do is I help people to really connect with themselves, to have a better relationship with themselves and other people. And I do that through energy work, energy alignment, so that you can be in flow and get the best out of yourself. I'm passionate about conscious communication as well. So the words we use are really important. And you can get fantastic results if you know how to say things, what words to lose, what words to use. And a parenting coach, that's how I started really, because
Yeah.
I've got 3 boys, I think we've talked before, that have all got incredible challenges, and it set me off on this route to find a better way to connect with them, especially Eden on the autistic spectrum, who was at special needs school, not reading and writing very well. So I did NLP, hypnotherapy, energy therapies, and it's just led me on this journey. So
Yeah.
I help people in lots of different areas to
So
have a
can we
better
talk a
life.
bit about how you entered this work? Because you wrote a book,
I certainly have, yeah,
Parenting Magic.
that's it.
So we'll talk about that. But what was the beginning for you? How did you end up? Because I'm assuming you've come into energy work yourself and then
Mhm.
you've journeyed and then you've expanded to help others.
Absolutely. I'm going back to 2006. I'd not long been divorced. I was really depressed. I was on antidepressants. I had 3 boys, the eldest one who had a brain hemorrhage at 10, so I had lots and lots of hospital appointments, procedures, operations, challenges. And that happened when the baby was just 12 weeks old. So that was so difficult. And I know that Hal, the middle one, got neglected, not intentionally, but that's what happened. My attention was going, to Chris, the eldest. So he had about a 2-year journey before he got back to anything like normal. Had to do everything again, learn to walk, speak. We had all the therapies going. And then after about 2 years, when things were getting back on some kind of even keel, I had Eden, the youngest one, who's on the autistic spectrum. And so he then got a lot of attention. So as well as Helen being middle child, which is in itself can be challenging, he was just the attention was going to the other 2. He just didn't get the attention that he needed. So consequently, it created a lot of attention. And I say that he probably, and being careful what I say here, caused me or offered me the opportunity of far more challenges than the other 2 put together. But Eden was the one, when he was at special needs school, couldn't read or write very well. And I don't know how, but I heard about NLP. and about what it can do, and got into that at the same time. And this is what I love, Andrea, those synchronicities when everything happens. I heard about Anthony Robbins. I actually got through the post, and I still don't know why or how, one of his books called Notes from a Friend,
Okay.
and got onto that. So went off, went to Anthony Robbins, did NLP, and that just started. I realized the potential that we've got for change and other people have.
Yeah.
So I think that was it, especially helping Eden with NLP strategies for spelling.
Can we ask you about NLP? Because I don't think
Mhm.
we've talked about it on the podcast at all. As it's
Yeah, I could do. I was just going to say, all I ever say is it's something like the 14th, 12th, and 16th letters of the alphabet, and that's probably as much as you need to know, really. Of course, it stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming,
yeah.
and I already knew a lot about anything to do with the brain because Chris had a brain hemorrhage at 10.
Mm,
And so this set me off understanding what the brain can do and what neuroscience is. And then language, linguistics. That is such a big topic, isn't it? Because
mm,
language isn't just the language we speak, the words we use, it's the body, it's movement, it's the energy that we emit from body language. And
mm.
then P, this is the bit that some people don't like very much when they say programming, because you are programmed, whether we like it or not. We've been programmed, haven't we, from birth with
Yeah.
thoughts, beliefs, whatever your culture is, your religion, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And so that's what it is. But what it can do is it can look at the patterns that you run and change them, because you can do so much with the neurons, can't you? The plasticity of the brain.
Yeah.
We get set in that rut and we run the same pattern, the same program. And we have to be aware of that first before we can change it and input something that's going to serve us better.
Yeah.
And I really like the analogy of standing in a field or a meadow where you want to get to the other side of it. And what we'll do is we'll make a pathway so that the grass is all nice and flat and we've got an easy route and we use it again and again and again and again. And that's easy. And then there's a point where we think, I actually want to go over there and go in a different direction. That's difficult because you've got to turn and start again in that to run that path over and over again. And if that's the brain, it's getting all those neurons to fire in a different way.
Yeah. That's fascinating.
It is
Yeah.
fascinating. And I'll tell you, if you look at Dr. Joe Dispenza,
Yeah.
he is fabulous, and I've watched it's on YouTube. He shows you the brain and what's happening, and it's almost like when you're firing, these neurons fire, they're actually emitting, aren't they? An electromagnetic sort of spark. It's electricity. And these little wavy neurons, it look like they're reaching out to touch hands. So they go across that synapse and they make another pathway so that when they are fired together, you know, they wire together, and then we've got a new belief, a
Yeah.
new patterning, and it's fascinating, isn't it? Yeah,
Helping
yeah,
Eden was really how you connected to the NLP and
100% that, yeah, and because that was hand in hand with, hypnotherapy,
yeah.
the importance of language and how we use it and how we say it, hypnotherapy isn't getting someone else to do something, it's
Yeah.
prompting their own unconscious to believe things. So I would spend a lot of time saying to Eden, it's going to be fascinating tomorrow, isn't it, to see how much easier you find spelling. And it's, embedded commands. And NLP also, introduced me to the power of rapport. So that is, getting in. We know when we've got a good rapport with someone, don't we? We
Yeah.
feel comfortable, we like someone else. We like to be liked. When you find someone that is like you have a much better connection.
Yeah, there's an energetic exchange, isn't there, within that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so what I would do at night with Eden, when he was lay on the bed, depending on what position, I'd mirror his position and get in the same position and get into the same breathing pattern and the same tone of voice. So the rapport there, and then using the hypnotic language. I call it hypno speak in the book. And, and it's this rather than telling them, it's always bringing something to start with you. I will say, I'm curious. I'm really wondering what it'll feel like for you tomorrow when you realize this or when you experience this. I
Yeah.
can't wait for you to come home tomorrow and tell you how much easier you found your spelling test. There's lots of ways that we can get different outcomes and the results we want without being forceful.
So, can you remember the point at which you really felt that you wanted to take this out into the world?
That's a great question. I think this probably happens with a lot of people. You have this idea somewhere, maybe I should write a book. And then it's like, "Oh, I've got loads to tell people." And I started sharing it with friends at first. And you know this, when you know something and you live it, I think you can forget that other people don't know it or haven't heard it.
That's a really interesting point. Yes. Or when you move in certain circles that who are doing similar things, you forget that there's a whole group of people that might not have ever heard of this. You say,
100%. Because for me, well, the very first thing that I learnt when I was doing my NLP training were the meta programs that we all run, and we say things that are not true. And one of the things that I was doing was blaming my boys a lot for making me mad, making me sad, making me lose my temper, making me late. And I remember distinctly sitting in the training room when this trainer said, "Nobody can make you anything." And it was like, "You don't know my boys, they can." And then she explained it. "You're in control of you, your emotion, your reaction, and it's learning to respond and realize that you're in control. Because all an emotion is energy in motion, isn't it?
yeah,
Moving through your body. And so I'm choosing to get mad if my boys are constantly leaving wet bath towels on the floor and not bringing the cups down. And it was an incredible realization, honestly. It hit me like a ton of bricks. I thought, I'm blaming my boys.
mm,
Again, not long after being divorced, not being in a great place. Life was tough.
a lot of pressure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're making me, you're making me, you make me this.
Mm.
And then as I was learning and putting into practice NLP, hypnotherapy, I remember Hallam one day when I lost it and just said, "Hallam, you're making me mad." And he just looked at me and said, "Well, choose not to be, Mum."
Oh, very wise.
Okay. Easier said than done, isn't it, sometimes?
Yeah.
So I started talking at schools and in groups. And just going back to when you know something, one of the most powerful things that I realized is that when I am telling my boys to don't, I'm actually telling them to do.
Mm,
Don't leave wet towels on the bathroom floor. Don't slam the door. Don't speak to me like that. Don't be late. Don't forget your homework. Don't look going, just cross out that don't because the unconscious mind can't process that. It goes straight to leave your wet towels on the bathroom floor, forget your homework, slam the door, speak to me like that. It was fascinating. And it took me a long time to change that. I had 3 sheets of flip chart paper with all the don'ts on that I would say to my boys.
mhm,
And I stood and just took a red pen and crossed through the don't, and I looked at what I was saying,
mhm.
and that's going straight in at their unconscious level. So the hardest thing was flipping it to ask them for what I wanted,
Yeah.
and that can be hard.
Yeah. Because that introspection, that awareness of yourself can be quite jarring, can't it? It can really feel like a bitter pill to swallow.
Yeah.
But I think having that awareness can allow you to make changes. Was you shocked when you realized that, when you realized you were doing that? Did it,
100%. That and that's why I said I remember the first time the trainer said it in the room, I just was like, "Oh, she doesn't know my boys," and then when she was explaining it, it hit me. And that's when when it hit me in the chest and it upset me. It
Mm,
really did because I thought, "I've got these beautiful boys, and I'm blaming them because I'm in a bad place, and I'm not feeling good, and I'm being victim."
yeah,
Quite a hard realization, and
yes.
then it's wanting to change it, and of course, we've said that you can't change something overnight.
Mhm.
Just like the analogy of, the meadow and the pathway, you've run that and you've been like that. You've got to really want to. First of all, you've got to be aware of it. Like you said, awareness is the first point of the possibility of change,
Yeah.
and then you've got to want to do it and stick with it long enough. I must have just concentrated on ditching the don'ts for weeks.
Mhm.
Then the other word that I quite like to sort of bring awareness to that you can change is your but. Because when you say but, you negate what you've said before it.
Yeah.
And so I'll say ditch the don'ts and sit on your butt. That's the best thing for them. Because I was constantly doing it with the boys. "Yes, you can, but yes, yes, but." And we all know that when you hear that "but," you know something negative's coming.
Yeah, it's a heart sink moment, isn't it?
It's exactly that. And so what I learned the other thing is going, further into energy work that I do. Language is written in letters, which are symbols, and all symbols, strokes, have got a vibration. You've heard of Masaru, haven't you? Masaru Emoto, the hidden messages in water. A
Yeah.
Japanese professor who took water in glass bottles and he either spoke to it, played music to it, or labeled it. And all the positive words when they were frozen, when the water was frozen, were beautiful crystals.
Mm.
And all those negative words didn't form crystals, they were just weird shapes, or they actually formed something that just didn't look very pleasant. So the conclusion from that is that water's got consciousness and it can actually respond to a vibration. And I'm talking about letters and words, and they have a vibration.
Yeah.
So I know that AND, I think if you just listen to it, Andrew, you can hear it. Yes, you can go to that party and make sure you're home on time. And yes, you can go to that party, but be home on time. We can say the same thing with and. And so when you want a specific outcome, you can use certain words that will give you that without them being manipulative. They are in a way. And I think that's something that NLP has suffered from being manipulative.
Mm.
Salespeople can learn it, like car salesmen, and it can come across as quite manipulative.
Yeah.
But it's a tool. And a tool is, it depends whose hands it's in.
Mm.
A scalpel can heal, do good things, or it can harm if it's in someone else's hands who intends to harm you. So if NLP is a tool, it depends what your intention behind it is.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, it's good. So you started sharing your messages in schools, did you, in small
Yes,
groups
yes.
and yeah, and what was the response that you were
It
getting?
was brilliant. In fact, excuse me, I'll tell you that that's where I got the name Parenting Magic from. The first ever presentation or workshop I did in a nursery in Rochdale, and I shared simply the ditch you don't, sit on your butt and stop trying. We haven't covered that. I'll just briefly, I'll tell you now.
Yeah.
If you're saying to your unconscious mind, try, there's no energy in it, there's no movement in it, it doesn't really mean very much.
Mm.
So if I say to you, if we were in a room together and I was holding out the pen and I would say, try and get the pen, what do you think you would do?
Take it.
Yeah, you'd take it. You would either take it or you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Simple as that. You will take it or you don't. They're the only two things that can happen. Try can't happen.
Ah.
There's no movement in it. And Yoda says it beautifully, doesn't he, in Star Wars? There is do or do not. There is no try. So I think it's incredible because your unconscious mind, 95% of you is run by the unconscious,
Mhm.
doesn't know what you want it to do. Take that pen, leave that pen there. Straightforward direction is much better. So for me, it was you ditch, you don't. I've explained if I would say to the boys, come home on time, shut the door quietly, take your plate down. It was a different language, but I excluded and swapped for the and the try. Instead of saying to them, try your best, you just say, do your best. Do it. Do your best.
Mm.
There's a different energy.
Yes, there is. And I've never
Complete
thought about that before.
because we are, aren't we, en masse programmed, and the majority of
Mhm.
people will use that language, and for me, it was an absolute eye-opener. It changed our relationship. So in this room, that's probably what I shared. Within 15 minutes, I'd got an email from a woman said, "I can't believe this. I've gone home and I have just said to my little girl, put that," and she said, "The difference is incredible. I've already seen the difference." We know, don't we, that especially toddlers, I think, you say, "Don't touch." Touch, 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 touch. Yeah, "Don't run." Off they go. Because we're actually pointing them in the direction of what we don't want. So the lady had said in this email back to me, it's probably longer than 15 minutes, but it wasn't long after the event, and she'd said, "Oh my gosh, it works like magic."
Ah, yeah.
And so I thought, parenting magic.
Sometimes we have these really pivotal moments in our lives that are very tiny and we could quite easily miss. So,
Mhm.
can you remember at the point at which you said, "Right, I'm going to put this in a book," or "Right, I'm going to call this parenting magic"? Can you remember those
Well,
moments? And
that was it. That was Parenting Magic born when I
from
read
that
it. That
email,
was
yeah,
from that email, I just thought,
well,
"It is magic. It absolutely is." So I knew that that is what I would be called. That's what I will call the book. And it just went on from there. I'd get enthusiastic and write a whole chunk and then not do anything and think, "I've got to write this book and come back to it." So it did take me a while. I'm
yeah,
glad I did it. And an interesting thing, I had a girlfriend who said, "Well, I don't have children, so, I won't buy the book." And then she said, "Oh, I will buy it to support you." And she read it and she said, "Oh, Karen, it's not just parenting magic, it's relationship magic." Because,
yeah,
of course, it applies to everything.
mm,
The truth in the book that helps you with parenting will help in any relationship.
yeah. So it's got a wider scope than
That's right.
parenting.
Yeah, and so I think that's what took me on to really understanding I want to share what conscious communication is,
Yes.
language, so I've been doing that as well.
I think doing this work, Karen, if you go back and think about the you parenting with the boys and how things have changed, would you say that doing this work has reshaped, changed your relationship with intuition and inner knowing?
Yeah, 100%, because the hypnotherapy is just dropping into a different space, you know, self-hypnosis, it's just quieting the mind and
Mm,
connecting, and that's when you'll hear your intuition that is absolutely there, and then it led me down to Reiki and quantum touch, and the last modality I trained in is the energy alignment method, because your energy has got the answers to everything.
mm,
So it's just led me on the journey that I am so pleased I'm on, and gratitude is what one amazing vibration to be in, and every single day I say thank you for what I know, and I don't mean that in a conceited way. I just mean I'm
mm.
so grateful that I've been awakened to or given a way into this way of living, this belief system, if you like, that everything's energy.
There's a saying, isn't it, that we are our own solution, and but sometimes to find those solutions, we have to quiet and we have to go inwards, even though that inward journey might feel very uncomfortable and we might hit those resistance, but the solutions are there.
And that's why I like the energy alignment method, because you're using your own body and energy as a pendulum. You just stand, you ask the question. The easiest way to get used to your own energy is to make a statement. If you stand with your feet hip width apart, you're nice and relaxed, your knees are soft, you're all nice and loose, hips and shoulders, and you say your name out loud. My name is. You'll feel the energy want to move you forward, because your truth will take you forward because you're in flow with it. That's the direction of truth and flow. Then if you say, my name is, and tell a lie, you'll feel the energy pulling you back,
Yeah.
because it knows it's not your flow, it's not your truth. And so what you do then is, the way I use it with people is, you ask if you are feeling a certain emotion. Now, you might logically know, your energy might tell you a different thing.
I understand.
Could ask, yeah, because if 95% of you is unconscious, consciously you're gonna say, "Well, I'm not angry." Okay, can we just check in with your energy then?
Mm. It was so funny. Oh, this is going back quite a few years now. But where was I going? I was going to, where's the Peace Hall? Halifax.
Oh, yes, it is, yeah, yeah.
Halifax. And I got to the roundabout just off the motorway, and a car hit me hit me at the back of me. And obviously I pulled over, had shared details and everything. And and anyway, I carried on to Halifax, and I was walking down the road, and this person said to me, "Would you like to come and have some energy healing?" And I went, "No, I don't." I was like, No, I don't. I don't need it." Like this.
I'm
No,
fine.
I'm fine. Yeah, I was really grumpy. And then for some bizarre reason, I ended up in like a crystal shop. I think I just realized that I did just want to come down, and I got talking to the shop owner, and we're having a chat, and I was telling him about the bump, and he made me a cup of tea and calmed me down, but in that instant, it was just that initial, like, resistance to, "No, I don't need any help." Like,
Isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I was gonna say, it's a caveat with EAM. What can happen is, you can ask a question.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. A few weeks ago, I was invited to go to a networking meeting that was a long way away. The weather was awful. I wasn't really sure about going, so I just asked, "Is it in my highest interest to go?" So I got a no. I could have stopped there, but the next question is, do I have some resistance?
Yeah.
Because you can have resistant energy that will affect the outcome. I had resistance. And what happened is, logically, it dropped. I couldn't be bothered getting up that early, going out. It was cold. It was a long way. I cleared the resistance to that,
Yeah.
and then re-asked and found out, yes.
And that's a really, I think that really emphasizes why we need to slow down. We still live in a very fast-paced world, and we can very quickly ask ourselves a question:
Yeah,
"Do I want to go to this event?"
yeah,
And if you'd have taken that initial answer as no, and recognizing that perhaps you weren't in the right energy to ask that question,
yeah.
you would have missed the wisdom and the deeper answer.
That's it. And that's why we have all got it inside us, whether,
Yeah,
gut instincts, intuition, higher self. You are connected and the answers are there. And
yeah,
it's being aware that, depending on the energy you are in, will give
yeah,
you, different things. I mean, when we were talking before about Masaru Emoto and, the energy of words, I did start to talk about even the strokes in English. if we say the alphabet, 26 letters can spell every single word that ever has been written, that ever will be written. That's ridiculous in just 26 letters. What's even more fascinating for me, if you look at the uppercase alphabet, A, B, C, and you deconstruct the strokes that make the A and the B and the C, you can make every other letter out of those strokes. You know what I mean? You can see the D, can't you? If you've got, you can see a D and you can see the G, and they're all there. And what they've got is their own frequency, their own vibration. So put them together. That's why certain words. Now, I believe that but put together and we felt it, doesn't have the same energy as and is a building block. And, this is a challenge for people. Realize how many times you're going to say, but,
Mm.
and stop, and then say, and. People say it's very difficult at first, it's awkward, and then you'll get to realize that you can say it every time. The other thing is, of course, I'm human, we all are, and we will use this language. The reason that I point it out to people and I like sharing it is when you want a specific outcome, when you want to change things, this is great information to know.
Do you have some recognition or some viewpoints about the type of language that's being used out there, and that in the way that people are expressing themselves, it can really agitate and create a lot of anger?
What I think about other people's language is it's a reflection of them.
Yeah.
It shows you what
Mm.
they think and how they view the world and what their perspective is. I just think that people are not aware of
Yes.
what their words, what their language can be doing. And I know how important words are because they can hurt or heal. And there's a very good example that I give with Hal, my middle son. When he got a report from school one day when his dad and I were still together. It wasn't a great report. And a lot of the comments were, could try harder, doesn't put much effort in, blah, blah, blah. And his dad said, the thing is, Hallam, you missed a 30%. So that is what it was said to him once. And that is something that stuck. We didn't know it had. And years later, I mean, when we were divorced and Hallam is in his 20s, we'd gone back to my house and Hallam was making coffee. And he also was going through a tough time starting college courses, finishing them, looking for jobs, not sticking to them. And so his dad was having a go at him again and saying, "What are you playing at?" And he went, "Well, I won't, will I? Because throwing the spoon down the worktop, I missed a 30%. And he stormed out of the room and his dad said, "What's that about?" And I said, "It's what you said to him a long time ago." I said, "I don't remember saying that." And this is what I mean about what we've said. People don't mean what they say a lot of the time. The person receiving it can interpret it in a completely different way.
Yes.
But oh my goodness, it sticks.
Mhm.
And what's interesting, I grew up with this rhyme, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. It's not true. To be honest, sticks and stones and physical wounds heal. It's the damage done by what's been said and what you've taken on board and what that makes you then believe about yourself.
Yeah, that's powerful. I know you've got your energy work and the healing. Do you support parents?
Not at them. I'll support anybody who wants support, yes. What's happened now is because I've got to a certain stage in my life that I am seeing other women in this position who I know I can help with this energy work. And what I mean by that is the women who are either at a crossroads or stuck or don't know what to do next or would like to change something and don't know how to, whether it be career, relationships. And it's being in that place of going, I don't know what to do. Well, with energy, the energy alignment method can help you not have to wonder. You don't have to wonder at all. It will tell you the next step, what's in your highest interest.
So in terms of your work, now, your current work, where's the majority of that sit? Who are you working with?
there. Women of the as a place in the life that I think I'm at, it's, still parents, it can be parents, and I've realised that a lot of women get to a stage where they'd like to change something, they don't know how to, they're not even sure what they want to do, they can be a bit stuck, be at crossroads, want to change the career, change a relationship even, and it's not knowing what to do. What we've said already is that you do know inside, you've got the answer. And so the energy alignment method can help them identify what they're actually thinking, what they believe, what they're feeling, what the emotions are. And then we can clear that out because that's what you do. You release it. There's an energy in all that. There's an energy in your thoughts, beliefs,
Yeah.
because they lead you to the actions you take.
Mm.
And if you want to change things, we need to backtrack, change those thoughts, change those beliefs, release it because it's all energy. And then when we've got that void and we've made space, we can input different thoughts, beliefs, and energy that help you get clarity and confidence.
Yes. A lot of this about having the confidence, isn't it? And I think something that's come up for me recently is
Uh-oh.
that trusting that inner knowing.
Mm. Yeah.
Because and actually I have spoke about this on the podcast before with Mick, my yoga teacher, very, very early on, is that you've really got to anchor in to trust and faith in yourself with those answers that come through. You've really got to know yourself and know what that inner voice feels like and sounds like. Because, like we talked about before, if you're not in the right energy or the right frame of mind, and you can come up with an answer without digging deep on. But I think it's really important to have that really anchor of inner trust and inner knowing because nobody else has those answers.
No, you've got it. Yeah.
Yeah, you've
And I
got
think
it,
you're
haven't
right.
you? Yeah,
When sometimes you've got those quick fire answers or decisions, it's coming off the top of your head.
yeah,
It's coming off
yeah,
the 5% that's logical
yeah,
and conscious, and there's so much more underneath. And that is why I think, meditation, quiet time, yoga, these practices help you become that whole person. The yoga, it means, doesn't it? It's the union of the mind, body, and spirit. And
yeah.
that's what we are. We are
Mm,
not just this human sort of vehicle. There's so
yeah,
much more to us.
yeah, which is why that holistic approach is really important, isn't it? Because we're not just one part of us. We're not just that. we're not just
Exactly
that
that.
head part. There's a whole intelligence going on
Yeah, yeah,
underneath.
yeah.
So, what do you feel has been the most pivotal moment of this journey for you?
I'm not sure if it's a moment. It's very interesting. I think your whole progression, sometimes you've got those moments, like I said, in the training room or when a client has said something, they stand out. If I look back at myself, I'm 2006, gosh, that's 20 years, Andrea. You know, I don't recognize who I was then. It's the journey, and for me, it has been continuous.
Yeah,
Like we said, it started with NLP and the hypnotherapy and the energy therapies, personal development, spiritual development, philosophies, Eastern, Western. I am just fascinated by the whole thing. And I feel that I've just put everything in a pot, mixed it up, and found something that works for me. And that's what I offer clients now. So it is coaching. And what I feel at the moment is that there isn't the gap, the chasm that there used to be between spiritual and science, because we are realizing, aren't we? Science can prove it. Everything is energy, everything.
yeah,
In fact, there isn't even any solid matter, really, is there? Because whatever we look at, if we're looking under a microscope that's solid, we'd see the space and the energy when
yeah,
it's magnified. So nothing is static and solid, it's always moving. And whether it's wave or particle, that's the scientific part, isn't it? It fascinates me. And I think it helps me not take life too seriously
mm,
because you can almost say then nothing's real. if you're using real as solid.
Yeah.
It's, everything passes, everything's changing.
Yes. Yeah. Everything's
And
interchangeable, transitioning all the time.
yeah, and it depends on your perspective, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. So
Mhm.
what are your plans for the future?
Getting out there on bigger stages, doing more, and I'm gonna say this, probably a second book.
Oh, wonderful. Have you got ideas? Have you got some ideas for
Well, it's looking back and reading what there's so much I left out.
Yeah.
I think, "Oh, that was really important." It's hard because you've got a number, I think it was,
Yeah.
is it 50,000 words? It's like, "We'll leave that out, we'll leave that out, and we'll change that." And now I've grown and moved. Yes, it all applies to parents still and parenting. And now I am feeling this midlife is one of the ways. I mean, I don't like these titles for women. So midlife, you're on the change. And yeah, I've been working quite a lot with ladies who are going through menopause and changing their perspective on it and changing the energy around it and a different way of looking at that.
I'm really pleased to hear that. 'Cause very it's a very individual experience, isn't it? People have different opinions about it.
So
I have to say, hand on heart, I've sailed through it. I've not really noticed anything, but I found the whole language around it out there, and there's a lot of disempowerment, a lot of language that they uses feels like it upsetting me and
I
feel
agree.
very much fear-based. I hadn't quite realised I'd gone through it, to be honest with you, and I was, like, sat there thinking, "Oh my gosh, all my hair's gonna fall out," and all this business, not realising that, like, I was past it, I was, like, on the other side. But I'm really excited about hearing women who want to change that perception,
Yeah. And
at that time of
And I
of
think
your
that's
life.
it. It's a fabulous time. It's a change. That's all it
Yeah,
is. That's come to its natural conclusion. And we're in a different chapter. And so I am not happy to hear the, midlife crisis. It's like, stop putting that idea in people's heads. Let us have this whole outlook that this is an exciting time. It's transition, yes. And you bring about what you think about. There is so much power in your thoughts, in your words. Then will you please focus on what you want, not what you don't want?
yeah,
And I think, especially we're talking about menopause, I don't want this. I don't want the hot flushes. I don't want to do that. I don't want to put the weight on. Well, just you've got the power to do the opposite. And as I sailed through it like you with a positive mindset and intention that I'm going to stay healthy. And I'm
yeah,
gonna be able to maintain this weight easily and enjoy this, and now I'm not saying those things don't happen,
yeah.
but there's a balance and there's a different way. Change your perspective, change the way you look at things, and things can change.
Wonderful. Karen, it's been lovely talking to you today. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast,
My
and
pleasure.
looking forward to speaking to you soon.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Connection Compass podcast. If you think this episode will help someone else, please leave a review. For more information about Karen's work and the offers that she has at the moment to work with her, please check the show notes. And finally, remember to keep talking, keep connecting for a more interconnected world.